Let's try that one more time, because I love Jesus, and I hope you love Jesus. And when we love Jesus, and when I love Jesus, I love to show people that I love Jesus. So, how are you guys doing? Good. So, as I said, my name is Dave. I come all the way from an hour and a half from Bakersfield, California. I am married. I have 2 kids. My wife is a teacher. She is not here. She's actually at a women's conference. But we are probably the only couple, the only family that was smart enough to move from the beach to the heat. Okay, so I know. We used to live, Santa Maria, we used to live right next to Pismo Beach, that beautiful coastline there, 70 degrees all year round. And then God said, well, I need you to go to Bakersfield, and I need you to go, I know you enjoy the lovely weather over there, but I need you to go to, it's temperature-wise during the summer, it's almost close to hell, I think, because it's pretty dang hot. So that's me, a little bit on me. I am a master, getting my master's degree down over at Gateway Seminary in Ontario, Canada. Not Canada, down in California there. It is a long road, it is a fun road, but it is a difficult road. But how many of you guys are having a good time at Six Flags? Wow, man, it's just awesome because we get you these awesome, great discounted tickets and these awesome things, and 4 people are having an awesome time riding the rides, and I love it. That's awesome. So, what's the best ride? Best ride? Lex Luthor. I got Lex Luthor up front. I got Goliath. What else do I got? Full throttle. All right. So my daughter's here, she is 9, so my favorite ride so far has been the carousel. Which has been totally awesome, which is really cool, which is good. But we're here to talk about true love waits, right? True love waits. We're here together. We're here to talk about what does God's Word have to tell us about sex. And why should we wait until we have sex, until we're married, right? And so, let me tell you, if you're one of those people that has already said, man, oh man, I already screwed up, it's okay. It's okay. Okay? We've all screwed up. But let me tell you that the number 1 movie about sex, does anybody know the number 1 movie it's about sex? Yeah, who said that? 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, see, y'all been watching the movie, that's the problem. See, y'all been watching the movie, so y'all know what it's about, right? So I remember when that movie came out, all the women on Facebook were like, hey, you want to go watch this movie? You got to go watch this movie. And men were like, no, we're not watching it, right? Did you know 50 Shades of Grey, it cost $40 million to make 50 Shades of Grey. Okay, it cost $40 million. But the number 1 movie, but you know how much it made? It made $571 million. It cost $40 million to make a movie about sex that brought in $571 million. How many of you guys think that's a lot of money? How many of you guys would love $571 million? Raise your hands if you want $571 million. Yeah. Don't go make a movie about sex to get $571 million. Society in itself wants us to believe that sex is what? It's okay, right? Like, you guys are at school, you guys go to school, and you guys got friends that probably talk about sex, or they're talking about how good the sex is, or they're like, Valentine's Day, we just celebrated, right? Valentine's, how many of you guys celebrated Valentine's Day? Some of y'all were like, dude, that's my boo, that's my bae, that's my girl, that's my guy. How many of you guys were like that on Valentine's Day, like 3 days ago, right? Yeah. Valentine's Day brings in so much money. It's also the number 1 holiday where most people have sex. Why? Because we, a lot of times, love to equate the word love with what word? Sex. Love equals what? Does not equal sex, so don't say it. Say it does not equal sex, okay? But the Bible tells us some awesome things about sex. And it tells us it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. have just kind of turned this biblical thing of sex, we turned it into this negative connotation. The porn industry makes so much money because we've twisted what the word love is and the word sex is, and we've twisted all of that. Let me tell you a quick story. Story about my roommate in college. So my roommate in college was a great guy. He had a calling. He wanted to be a pastor, and so he wanted to be in ministry. And I remember he was dating this girl, and he would go off and hang out with girls. How many of y'all hang out boyfriends or girlfriends? Raise your hands. Got boyfriends, girlfriends. Y'all raise your hands high. Don't be like ashamed, like, dang, like, I got a girlfriend, but I'm like, I got a boyfriend, but I ain't trying to tell nobody. This guy, his name, he wanted to go, I'm not going to share his name, but he wanted to go and to be in the ministry, and I'd ask him a question. He'd be off with his girlfriend, and he'd be in her apartment, and I blatantly asked him one time, because I never see him, I'm like, hey, are you all sleeping together? Yeah, like, that's a weird question, right? But see, we have this thing that was called accountability. And when you have accountability, it gave him the option to ask me questions that I didn't really want to hear, and it gave me options to ask him any questions he didn't want, but he had to be truthful back. And he said, no, we're good, we're just hanging out, we just sit on the couch, we chill, we hang out, and that's good. Until the one time I walked into her apartment. And I was like, all right. So I didn't say anything, I backed off. And I went back and it was Thanksgiving. We're going to see his family. We're going to see his mom. His mom is a dear friend. She's an awesome lady of God. And we were getting ready to walk into his mom's apartment. I was getting ready to knock out of courtesy. He said, oh, don't knock yet. I got to talk to you about something real quick. So I'm thinking something's happening with his mom because, like, he didn't tell me. He's usually pretty honest. So we went and sat down on the steps going upstairs, and he's like, I just have to ask you, I was like, hey, I just want to be honest. He's like, okay, I don't want you to be mad. I'm like, okay. And I said, hey, you remember, he came up to me and said, you remember that time you asked me about if I was having sex with my girlfriend? And I told you no? I said, yeah, I remember that. He said, man, I lied. He's like, we've been having sex. He's like, but I'm called to ministry, and I don't even know if I should go anymore because I just feel like I just violated what God's told me to do in my life. And I looked at him just as a Jesus thing, and I said, dude, you made a mistake. But I forgive you. And I forgive you. Why? Because Jesus forgives you already. If you just already gone to him and you asked. See, you could have already made a mistake. You could have already had sex. Or maybe you're still having sex with your guy or your girlfriend or whoever. You can still come back to Christ and ask for forgiveness, and he will forgive you for that. You can start over. You can start by saying, right now, you can be like, hey, you know what? God, I screwed up. I'm not going to have sex anymore from this point on. I've screwed up in my life, and I can't do it anymore. Do you know, when you have sex before you have marriage, you violate your future spouse. You violate your future husband. You violate your future wife. You violate them. And it doesn't just come to sex. Some of you guys, let me tell you right now, some of you guys, you may be sexually abstinent, but some of you guys might be looking at pornography or something like that is violating your future spouse right now. You're taking away the beauty of what God has intended was to be saved for marriage. And the reason I say that, because I was one of those people. I was one of those people. I was one of those guys. I am part of, you guys know what the Me Too movement is? Yeah, I'm part of the Me Too movement. When I was 12, I was molested when I was 12. Okay? And in that, I fell into pornography pretty dang hard. violated the very first beautiful things in my marriage in the very beginning. Got taken away from my wife because of what I chose to do in my past life. Because when you start to violate in that way, you don't start to see your future husband or your future wife as beautiful or who they are supposed to be. You start seeing them as somebody different. Maybe it was a picture on the screen. Maybe it was a past boyfriend, past girlfriend. God never intended sex to be a negative thing. God created Adam and Eve, the very two first people. He created them. And he created them to do what? Multiply. He created them to multiply. If they didn't create them to multiply, we would have a really weird world right now on our hands. It would be kind of an odd thing. See, the Bible tells us sex is good as long as you wait until marriage. True love. The very important thing about true love is you'll never have the strength to hold up to a commitment to purity until you're totally committed to Jesus Christ. If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, and you're abstaining from a relationship with Jesus, sexual temptations are always going to win, because who's going to win that battle? Satan is always going to win that battle if you don't have Jesus. See, God intended us to save ourselves, our soul, everything we have for marriage. Satan loves to lie, and he loves to tell us these things. He tells us sex is good, you can do that. Girl, if we got sex, well, we got to have sex before we have marriage, because if we don't, girl, I don't even know if you love me. No, I'm okay. Oh, girl, so you don't have sex? Oh, I'm going to go find somebody else. We're going to have sex, because that means that they love me. It's not true. Satan loves to put things in our minds to look at things differently. Some of y'all walk around here like Six Flags like this. You may have a guy, you might have a boyfriend, you might have a girlfriend, but this is what your thought process. Another hottie walks by, you look, like it's okay. I could look, I just ain't ordering off the menu. I could look, I'm just not ordering off the menu. Oh, why are you looking at her? I wasn't looking at her, I was looking at somebody else. You already have it in your mind that your girl or your guy ain't good enough. In Genesis 2:24, it says this. This is why a man leaves his father and mother, and he bonds with his wife, and they become one flesh. This is all the way back in Genesis, all the way right after Christ, that God tells us that, look, you don't get to have sex. You don't get to bond with anybody but your wife, and you only get to become one flesh when you leave your mother and father. Now, how many of you all in here are ready to say, I'm ready to get out of my house and live on my own, and I can do it all by myself? Y'all, a bunch of liars. Because once y'all leave, y'all go back and be like, yo, I need some cash. Trust me, my son's here. He did already ask me for $40. So trust me, I know. But yeah, we're commanded, we're called, that's all commanded by God of this. We can't have sex until marriage. We are bonded to become one flesh with our wife or with our husband. I ain't making it up. It's just what the Bible says. And whatever the Bible says, I believe. And he goes on and says they were both naked, a man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Why weren't they ashamed? Because they're already married. A man and his wife ain't got nothing to be ashamed about in the bedroom. I know some of y'all are like, dude, that's sick, dude. I'm like thinking about my parents right now. That's just kind of gross talk. But God had intended. Look, man, y'all wouldn't have been here without sex. I'm gonna let you know right now. When your parents didn't get together, and they were naked, but they weren't ashamed. Why? Because that's how God created it for man and woman to be together as husband and wife. Maybe you're one of those people that have already had sex. Like, I'll ask who. Or maybe you sin through pornography. Or you've had some fantasies about doing some stuff. Or maybe you've crossed the line of physicality in some other way. And it doesn't have to just be sex. It can be all sorts of physicality. Maybe you're one of those, my mama and my daddy are at work. Hey girl, hey, why don't you come to my house? My parents are gone, we just chill in my bedroom. Get home, your bedroom door's shut. It's called secrecy. Trying to hide something. God knows what you're doing. You know, you're trying to hide it from your parents. If you've already had sex, please do not feel ashamed that you've already had sex. I'm not trying to shame you. I'm trying to give you a second chance to say, you know what, from this moment on, man, I can abstain from that, and I ain't going to do it. I'm going to live my life the way God intended sex to be with marriage. I'm going to start right where I'm at. Maybe you just got to draw that line. You got to set those boundaries. See, I remember when I got engaged, my wife gave me a ring. See if I can pull it out. She gave me this ring right here. And she made me I made a vow and a promise to my wife. So I wore this ring. I wasn't even married. But my wife bought me this ring. If you don't know what this ring is, this is actually what's called a true love waist ring. Some people may have it. You might have it. I've been married to my wife for 16 years. I've kept this in my wallet since the day we got married. When we got married, my wife took this off of my finger and she replaced it, not with this band, but my real wedding ring. She took it off. She replaced it. And during that time, I made a commitment to love my wife, to love my fiance, and to wait until we had gotten married to have sex. So I made that promise because I love my wife. I still carry this because I still love my wife. Am I a perfect husband? No. But we're not perfect. We're not perfect. None of you guys are all perfect. None of you guys are perfect. Let me tell you a story of imperfection. So there's this boy, and he's in school, he goes to public school, and he loves going, and he does great in every subject except math. How many of y'all suck at math? I'm part Asian, and I didn't get that part, but it's okay. That's what I tell people. But I like rice. That's all that matters. And seaweed. But that's all. I'll be honest with you. This is a boy, he went to public school. He did everything good. He was great in English. He was phenomenal at science and everything, history. But man, this kid, he was not very good at math. Every time he would come home, he would go take a test. He'd come home, he'd get a big F. He'd go do something, homework, he'd get an F. He just couldn't figure out math. Even the simple math, he couldn't figure it out. And he's like, oh, gosh, kid. Mom was getting frustrated, didn't know what to do, so mom hires her tutor to teach him math and he still couldn't get it. He was still getting an F, still getting an F, still getting an F, still getting Fs. Finally, she asked for advice and she said, hey, why don't you put him into a private school? Go put him in a private school because they teach things differently at private schools. And they do, because my son is public school and my daughter is private school. So I know. And so she's like, okay, fine. So she enrolls him in this private school all the way across town. And then he starts coming home, and he's like, man, he gets straight through his room, and he starts doing his math homework. And mom's like, oh my gosh, this is a miracle. Like, this is phenomenal. Like something has changed. She's like, I don't know what. And she keeps asking, man, what changed? Is your teacher awesome? Is this awesome? He's like, man, how are you getting all this? And so he's doing all that. And she just couldn't get him out of his room. He's doing all this math. And then finally she just stops him. And she said, stop. She's like, I just want you to answer the question. Why is that school different than the other school that you're getting math? And he said, Mom, I was going to class and I was walking up the stairs. And Mom, I saw this dude, he was hanging on a plus sign. And I got scared and I didn't want to make sure I wasn't hanging on a plus sign. And she's like, what? Yeah, I walked in that school, Mom, and there's a guy who's just like this on a plus sign. And I didn't want to be the guy at the plus sign, so I figured if I didn't learn math, I was going to be the next in line to be on the plus sign. And I didn't want that. And so here's the deal. That guy in the plus sign is this guy, Jesus. This guy, Jesus, he's the one he's already taken our mistakes. He's already taken everything away. He's already died for our sins and our mistakes. So all we have to do is really come to him and say, Jesus, man, I screwed up. God, I'm looking at pornography right now. God, I've had sex with my partner. I've already had premarital sex. But God, I'm doing this. That's not right in your biblical way. God, can you just take that from me? And Jesus is going to be like, yeah, I can. I'll give you a second chance. Why? Because I love you. Why? Because I think you're worth it. And if you weren't worth it, I wouldn't have taken the cross for you. The ultimate Bible verse that talks about love is John 3:16. And that verse says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever shall believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. That is the number one verse about love, that God is willing to give up his own Son for us. And in chapter 13 in 1 Corinthians is this very key passage. How many of you guys know 1 Corinthians 13? What is that chapter? Love. Did you guys ever realize what the very first command in that is? It says love is what? Patient. Patient. What does patience usually take? It usually takes a waiting period, right? Like you gotta wait, right? I used to work in the medical field before I became a pastor, and we used to make the joke that patients are called patients because that's what they're supposed to have. Okay? Patience means we have some form of waiting that has to take place. And I'm urging you that right now, in this generation, right now, that you will wait until you have a marriage with your wife or your husband before you have any type of sexual intercourse. There are over 2,000 girls that get pregnant every month in the United States. 2,000. That's telling me that, man, as believers and as Christians, that we need to attack this and we need to tell people and we need to be telling our friends, well, you should be waiting. Don't be doing that. Because none of y'all are probably ready to be a daddy or a mommy or anything like that right now. It's not easy. God died for you. And if you want to have a relationship with anybody right now, have a relationship with Jesus. Have a relationship with Jesus. Some of y'all don't have a relationship with Jesus. Some of you guys are going to die and you're going to have a relationship with Jesus and you're going to walk up there and be like, dude, I don't really know who you are. I'm asking, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus, the one who's willing to give up his life for you upon the cross, today's the day to do that. Today is the day to do that. Today is the day to say, man, Jesus, I love you. Or Jesus, I haven't followed you in my life. Y'all bow your heads for me. Now, if you're willing and if you want to have that relationship with Jesus Christ, and you say, God, I've really screwed up, and God, I really need forgiveness, and I really want you as part of my life. Man, if you just slip up your hand or do something, I just want to pray for you. I'm not going to call you down front. I just want to pray for you. If you're saying, God, I'm struggling with something right now, can you just help me through that? It doesn't even have to be sex. It could just be anything. Maybe your parents are struggling with family. We just want to pray for that. But here's what I'm going to ask. Anybody in here who's willing to tell me right now and say, hey, you know, Pastor Dave, hey, Dave, I'm willing to be bold enough to wait to have sex until I'm married? Will you just stand up for me? If you're willing to say, God, I'm waiting until I have sex before marriage, and I'm bold enough to do that in front of my peers and let them know, then man, God, then if you just stand up, that would be awesome. Yeah.